My squad, Real Madrid, got beat in the Copa final, but at least they balled out. At least they fought. They had a chance to win. Barca, I hate you, but also game recognized game. Congrats on the Copa, but I hope y'all lose in the Champions League. I might recognize game, but I never said I wasn't petty. But SDFC did not look to have any real fight in them this game. Did not look like they really came out and wanted to win. In the pregame episode, the last episode I posted, I asked for intensity. I asked for aggressiveness. You just lost 3-0 to Charlotte. You lost your last 2 games in a row. Where was the hunger at? This was a bad game to watch. There's very little to be excited about on our end other than a Chucky penalty. That was it, and Godoy bought that penalty. Where did SDFC go wrong? Who is to blame for this loss and maybe the past 3 losses? What do we need to change, and how do we get back to winning? But one quick shout out, Philippe and Don, it was great connecting with you at the game. A big shout out for the invite to the SDFC after party. Such a great time, such a great day hanging with y'all. But did y'all even know SDFC had an afters? I'm a season ticket holder and I didn't even know that. But all right. Let's get into all that right now. Let's get into the game right now because there's a lot to talk about. We need to talk about the players on the field. The players on the field did not show up. I said Mikey Varas would go back to his normal lineup, but we didn't know who was going to play at wingbacks. And well, that was an easy call on my part because they went back to their old lineup, which they probably should have done against Charlotte. But hey, let's pick apart this game. So Valakari back up front, McVeigh back at center back, Godoy and Lucas starting in the midfield. The surprise is wing backs. You never know who he's going to select. Bombino and Willie were selected for this game. And even though I want to call out Mikey Varas for his lack of creativity, we have to start with the players because even if Mikey Varas had a tactical setup that would have tilted the game in SDFC's favor, our players still have to come out firing. Our players still have to execute. We looked slow. We looked like we just did not have any intensity or any aggression, which is something I asked for after that 3-0 Charlotte loss. And we didn't aggressively close down RSL players. There was a stat I brought up, blocks, last time. This was an apparent issue this game. The first goal, Diego Luna picks up a horrible pass from Willie. Our wingbacks cannot cross the ball. Our wingbacks are not great on offense. They can hustle, but they are not good. Willie gave a horrible pass to Diego Luna. If you're going to give it to anyone, don't give it away to Diego Luna. But Diego Luna still has 2 center backs in front of him and the goal. He does a little drag and then shoots the ball in between 2 center backs. Why are our center backs, at least one, closing him down, maybe while the other's dropping? We were just dropping. We were giving him space. We gave him an open shot. Hence, we don't block the ball. But why is our defense so soft? Why does our defense drop back so much? And 2 center backs against Luna, center backs should win that. But hey, I said in the pre-match, if anyone can do the miraculous, if anyone can, come up with a moment of brilliance, it was Diego Luna. And why are we just allowing him to get the ball and then shoot the ball between 2 center backs? It was horrible way to start the game. But also, we didn't deserve anything less because we did not come out and take our home field like Colorado did to us when we played in Colorado. They just took it to us. Where was that fight from us? Diego Luna could have had, 3 goals easily. We obviously weren't tracking him. We weren't pressing against him. We did foul him once. We clipped his heel once. But I would say you should have sat him down a couple times so he has to look over the shoulder every time he receives the ball, which means he's going to be 1 second late to everything. No, he would get the ball cleanly and just run at us, just pick us apart. It was an absolutely horrible showing. And to not guard the best player or have eyes on the best player is atrocious. But what about our front 3? Chucky was pressing. He tried to do too much. He was like Kobe on the ball. Dreer, has anyone seen Dreer in the past 3-4 games? I think, he had a couple goals in the first game, and then, we were like, yeah, Dreer's going to be awesome. And he's looked good, but he hasn't produced, right? And then We have Valakari. He was just very silent today. He had a couple kind of half chances, which, you know, you got to take those. But also, like, again, we just didn't look good and we didn't have clear-cut chances. But one player I also want to, you know, look at, and it's one of my favorite players personally, is Luca de la Torre. Luca de la Torre has a soccer background that, you know, might only really rival Chucky. Why are players like Diego Luna or Georgi Mihailovic able to take over games, able to impose their will on games? Luka, you're just as good, if not better than them. Why are you not imposing your will? Why are you not taking over a game for SDFC? I see too little of you. I see just moments and momentary spurts, but I want you to control a game. Our attacking is just not working right now. Our attacking, it looks like it's struggling. It looks like we're lacking confidence. And it just doesn't look like we're all on the same page. And again, I think we're lacking a little creativity, but don't want to get too much into the offense. Our offense has been at least halfway decent this year. We have to talk about the defense because we have given up 9 goals in 3 games. That is an insane number. Can we hold a team to 1 goal or less? I mean, is a clean sheet even possible anymore? Because we haven't had one of those since Seattle. And that, to me, not only the players have to take onus on their hustle on closing down players. They're not sprinting to close down players. They're not sprinting and playing hard on defense, especially sometimes we're just outnumbered in the middle of the field. But we have to talk about Mikey Varas. At the end of the day, it comes down to coaching. What is Mikey Varas saying to this team? And I was speaking with a couple friends about the game, not only during the game, but also after the game yesterday. It feels like Mikey Varas is playing checkers and not chess. Usually you want that opposite, but Mikey Varas is playing checkers. Everything on the pitch is very basic. There's nothing revelatory on the field. There's nothing that really changes as far as our tactics from game to game or even from first half to second half. We just change players. There's no creativity. There is no imagination. There is no surprise. Other teams are scouting us. They're figuring out how to play against our offense as well as play against our defense. But Varas is so rigid. He's so stubborn. We're going to play how we play. We have one identity and we're going to impose our will on the game. It's not how it works in professional soccer. Think of Wilfred Nancy when the Columbus Crew came in. He changed tactics in the first half. We got dominated the first half. Thankfully, we came back in the second half. Then think of the Colorado Rapids game. They came out in a 4-4-2 formation, which they haven't played all year. That surprised us. That took us off guard. We weren't expecting that. Where are our changes? Are we scouting other teams and thinking, wait, we can expose them if we do this because it's their weakness, or we can see that they have a weakness. So how do we expose that? Think of Diego Luna. Everyone knows he is the star, the engine of the show. No one would think otherwise if they watched the tape. Did we think maybe we should have a spy on him? Maybe a center defensive midfielder that follows him around all game? Do you not tell your team to be like, hey, watch out for Diego Luna. Send him to the ground every time he touches the ball, right? Again, he has to look over the shoulder. If you're a second late, if you can't just react, you're probably not going to make a good play. What are we doing with our tactics? Not only looking at singular players, but looking at our team as a whole. The 4-3-3 defense is not working, period. There's too much space and not enough of our players are sprinting to close down the ball. Again, numerical disadvantage in the middle. Try something different. Help a struggling defense out, Mikey Varas. Mikey Varas is out here playing checkers while other teams are playing chess. We need to change. We need to adjust. We need to make sure teams can't hone in on one style of play or one philosophy. And we're doing it for the entire 90 minutes. Again, all he really does is make substitutions, like for like substitutions. And that just means, oh, I'm going to put fresh legs on, or I hope this one player or these 2 players or these 3 players make a big enough difference against a team that already knows what we're doing. I'm not going to get into the offense. I think our offense has been, again, a little bit better, or a lot bit better than our defense, even though they've been kind of garbage the last 2 games. But we cannot play a 4-3-3 defense, period. We need to make some changes. Here's some changes. if you're counting on Luka and Chucky and Dreer to close down, and they're not sprinting. Yeah, they might close down, but they're not sprinting every play during, every turnover. They're not. You can see it all over the tape. So it's not working well enough, and it's not working stylistically, because I'm sure that's what you're asking them to do. If they're not doing it, you have to change. Maybe, we've said this before, drop to a 4-4-2 to make the game easier on your defense. You have two solid lines between the ball and the goal. Very simple. All players will know how to play a 4-4-2. Again, less space, less having to run from, top to wing in a 4-3-3. That's what you have to do. A lot of them have to run back. But personally, I think our defense needs even more help. So drop to a 4-1-4-1. Have a center defensive midfield help as a floater in defense, shutting those open lanes down between the 2-4 lines. Also, again, bring back Luna. Luna was finding space and pockets in between our midfield and our defensive line. If we had the 4-1-4-1 with the center defensive midfielder floating, you spy Diego Luna. This happens to Messi quite a bit, and obviously Messi's so good, it almost doesn't matter. Luna's not Messi. I'm sorry. Luna's good, but he's not Messi. Shadow him so he doesn't have free reign to change the game, to take over a game, which he absolutely did, and he could have had a hat trick this game. In the end, the blame has to go on the coach. The blame has to go on Mikey Varas. Your players are not hustling. That's probably because you haven't set a standard of hustling on defense. If they're not executing your game plan correctly, well, maybe that's because you're not teaching it well enough, or other teams know what we're doing so well, it's really hard for them to execute. And if you do not have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C for when you go into each and every game, what are you doing with your job? Isn't that what a coach is for, is to understand all externalities, all the variables that could potentially happen in a game, and have a game plan for each and every one of those variables? Everything just feels too nice, too neat, too clean. We need to get gritty. We need to be scrappy. Do you see us get scrappy goals? Do you see us get scrappy tackles? No. But I think that's because Mikey Varas is a really nice guy. And it shows in this team. We play really nice. And when things and conditions are really nice, we look great. When conditions don't go our way, we look way less than the team that we're playing, even though we should be better than that team, because we should have beat RSL. And going back to the blocks, the third goal, we just let people have free shots. Again, we need to change something. We need to be scrappy. We need to get into players. We need to close down players so they don't have passing lanes and shooting lanes. This is bothering me. I'm disappointed. I'm angry. I don't like losing. I don't like seeing our teams lose. But what do y'all think needs to happen? Is Mikey Varas to blame, or is Mike Gio just tripping? Let me know what you think in the comments, because I just don't like what's happening these past 3 games. And I really do think teams are starting to understand our style of play and starting to understand how to game plan against us. Until the next game, I am Mike Gio, and this is the Penalty Kick Podcast. But as always, LSG, SDFC, we need to get that next win for sure.